that tonight what I heard is more agreement than disagreement. As the Congressman said, we all want to make this community, our schools, all communities in Palm Beach County safe. What I can tell you is when this event happened on August 17th, every one of these people that on this day, the school board member, Ms. Andrews, Commissioner McKinley, Representative Wilhite, we were all in communication within moments and within hours and 4 hours, constantly, throughout that night and the next day, talking about immediately the response, the law enforcement response, what happened, how we were going to deal with it going forward. And that was true after this event. That was true immediately after Parkland. I was with the school board member, Marsha Andrews, at our schools those very next days after Parkland, talking about having single point of entry at Palm Beach Central, having gates closed at Wellington High School and Wellington Landings. This is a very unique community in that we believe fundamentally in public schools and making sure that our schools are second to none anywhere. And I will tell you that what I saw here tonight was a community discussion that very much represents the discussion between these elected officials at all levels of government. It's the federal government, with the state government, with the county government, with the local government, with the school board. That's how this works. When all of us are working together to reach a singular goal, and that is for our communities and most of all our kids to be safe. So I just want to say that Marsha Andrews has heard a lot tonight about things that need to be done, but she has been, since this event happened 10 days ago, and before, all the way back to Parkland, working on this. And this is a community here where our law enforcement, with school law enforcement, is working very hard every day to make sure that our kids are safe. And so I just want to say that.
Okay, thank you. Listen, and I think we know this. This is a community issue. It's not just a school board issue. But I want to just go over some of the things that you all raised so that we make sure that we respond to them. We heard from one of our students, Ari, who said, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We heard about somebody who was concerned about gangs, about drug overdoses. We heard about from Skylar's mom how the code red scares him and how feeling that we need more psychological counseling and support in the schools. We heard from Lillian, right, our student who suggested social media and so forth. What else do we have? Paula told us about the need for role models and how students are calling for help. We got a lot of good comments here. Wes, I think Wes was at the game when this happened and was concerned about school safety. And let's see what else. I'm going to the school board stuff. We heard a I forget the name of the woman who was actually also at the event, who also gave us a very moving account of what happened. And we heard from people who said, listen, we don't think the solution should be teachers having guns. And I think let's end it up by saying, why is this happening? So I'm going to let you kick it off and just respond to some of the concerns.
Thank you, and I'm just so happy to hear all of the opinions in here tonight because we are one, and our children are scared. I mean, we just have to be honest. We're doing a lot of things with the school district of Palm Beach County, within our communities, but we've got to make sure our children are not afraid to go to school. It's going to be a long process to get all of this correct, but we're trying to make corrections as we go. When we had Parkland, I mean, we were all terrified and upset. We're still suffering from that. From the Palm Beach Central incident, we're still suffering. But as a school board member for you and this community, District 6, right here where I'm standing, covering West Lake Work all the way out from the acreage to Loxahatchee to Belle Glade, South Bay, Pinell Point, we know that we've got a lot of work to do as the superintendent, as well as all of the school board members and administrators. Our chief of police, we just hired a brand new chief of police, Frank Kizero, who came in from Jupiter. He is very knowledgeable, working closely with the sheriff's office. Someone said we need the sheriff's office. They're already partnering with us. I see some of them in here tonight. Thank you. The village of Wellington, all of the cities, all across Palm Beach County, for us to be able to have an officer in every school, everybody had to come together while we still tried to hire more officers. And we're still doing that as we speak, but as a community like we are tonight, everybody had to come together, at least have an officer in every school, especially our elementary schools. So that piece we got right somewhat, but we still have more work to do. One officer won't do it, 2 officers won't do it. We have a lot of sick children. We have to recognize a lot of mental health issues with our children because there's been a breakdown in the families, everybody. The way
That's
we
the real
are
problem.
now, it's a lot of problems. A lot of young mothers and fathers, they don't know how to really teach their children. We've got to have more counseling. One of the things with the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act, it said we had to do more for mental health and have more counselors. Our counselors in our public schools, somebody said how large our schools are. Yes, they're large. And can you imagine if you have 3,000 children and maybe you only have 5 counselors, especially in high school, many times they're regulated to paperwork. We've got to get past that. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're trying to make sure our counselors get to know our children. Our mental health people that are within our schools now get to know the children, especially when children come to us and they have a signal of a problem. As a former teacher and a principal, I knew the children in my school that were at risk because I was on the ground getting to know them.
Right.
Counselors have to get to know every child within that school and especially check off the ones that you can identify quickly that's going to need some more counseling and mental health counseling. We're trying to put training programs within the schools right now. Someone was talking about the ESC students in the elementary schools. They're scared, the elementary children, as well as the ESC students. That training to tell them what to do on a code red, they're already shaking in their boots when they hear a fire alarm or when they hear a code red drill. So we have to have the right kinds of people teach them in a different way so that they won't be scared. We've got to teach them. Somebody was talking about the video, you know, when they to hide and to fight and to run. We're trying to teach our children what to do because everything that you lay out doesn't always happen just like that. With the Palm Beach Central game the other night, many people did not know what to do. As the school board member and the superintendent, the chief of police, we're now trying to get protocols in place when we have big events that there is going to be a formula for people to know what to do in the case of an emergency. And there may be another emergency, we don't know. I think we were really lucky the other night, but guess what? We have all kinds of evening programs within our schools, so we are trying to get new protocols to help people. You've probably heard of some that we're starting football games earlier, some, you know, on Saturdays and all of those kinds of things. And we're going to be searching the bags and we have the wands that's going to check. But we still have to go further because someone could come into our game that has a mental health issue and we don't know it. So we do need more officers at these big events, and this means it's going to take money. And this is why we're going to ask you to help us to get more money. Sure, we better look at our own budget, and when we have these big events, find the money to cover properly. You know, I spoke to the principal at Palm Beach Central, and they did everything that they were supposed to do, never dreaming anything like that would happen. But it caused us to know we didn't give that principal enough for the security needed to keep the school safe. So as a result, we're doing more things. But we can't do those things by ourselves. And you may say, well, maybe my idea might sound so ridiculous. No, every idea is important. As your school board member, I want you to reach out to me. And I have a website and an email, www. You can call, email the Palm Beach County School District and ask for me, or you can call me at my email, marsha.andrews@palmbeachschools.org, and give me any of your ideas as we leave here tonight. But we need more counselors, we need more mental health, and we're working on that. The money from the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act, it was only for 1 year. 1 year, so we're in trouble. I mean, we're covered for this year partially, but we've got a lot of work to do. That's why I say this is fluid with keeping our children safe. And so we've got to have more resources, more people, more everything. We're looking for more mentors and role models. We don't have enough of those. If you know you're retired and you don't have to work as on a 40-hour job or something, volunteer at your school to be a role model or a mentor so you can walk to school and help us out. I was over the Palm Beach Central, as you heard the commissioner, the council member McGovern said. And when I noticed that we had to do some things after Parkland, we got those things done. At Wellington High School, Palm Beach Central, and any of the schools in District 6, I did that. Is it Ms. Andrews? That's not the work of a school board member, but yes, it is. Because I've got to make sure when I get to the school, there is a single point of entry, that I can feel practically safe when I walk through. And I'm still walking these schools because I'm not quite safe yet. And as the children go, they're feeling the cracks. They know where the cracks are. They are looking at the fences. They're looking at all of these things, how people can slip in. One or two officers can't block all of that. So we've got to continue talking to our schools, going into our schools, looking at our schools, and when we see some breaks in security, you've got to tell the administration. So I want to tell you a few more things. With the Palm Beach Central incident, we have a wonderful relationship with the elected officials here in the village of Wellington, as the school board member, as the community. We do work together. We have speed dial on our phones so that we know what's going on from the school board to the community. And all of us that's sitting right up here, we talk to each other almost every day. And then somebody might say something to me, they didn't think it was happening. I'm going to check with the superintendent and the administration to see what we can do about it. So we're really working on it. Somebody said that their child was riding the bus on the floor. I'm going to look into that first thing tonight when I get off the phone. I want to find out if we have children riding on the bus on the floor. That cannot be tolerated. And yes, we have Facebook and we have the apps now. The Sheriff's Department has a wonderful app. But we've got to teach our children how to use the technology so that they can keep themselves safe. So it's an ongoing process. The school district superintendent or the school board member, we can't do it all by ourselves. And I don't want you not to tell me if you see that we've broken down somewhere or we're not doing it at the rate that we should be doing it. I'm certainly talking to the elected officials, and they're telling me the same, we got to get on this or we got to get on that. But as you walk and come into the schools every day or past the schools, I want to be someone that you know, that you can email or phone me and tell me, I saw something, you might be missing the boat here. So there's so much we have to do. It's fluid, and we're going to continue working through this. It's going to take funding, but it's also going to take all of us, no one side or the other, all of us have to take care of our children and take care of our wonderful communities.
Let me get the first one right off the bat. I feel like we're at a wedding. We've got the bride side and the groom side. The county, I'm going to go there for a very, very split second on the sanctuary city because Congresswoman, you and I went through this last year when we did a town hall. The county has traditionally applied for a grant from the Department of Justice. It is for funding for the sheriff's office. We've usually gotten that money. This year, when we applied for it, it got stopped. It got stopped because Jeff Sessions, Attorney General of the Department of Justice, they were doing a review of every government agency that applied for that funding to determine whether or not they had sanctuary status. If you did, you would receive that money. So I'm happy to announce we received that money. We passed that test, and so I hope that we can avoid that argument in the future. Just a couple of things. The conversation came up of what's different, or why are so many families, why are so many kids acting out, what's going on. I can tell you, I make a decent salary being your county commissioner, and I appreciate that, but I work about 100 to 120 hours a week. My staff will tell you that I answer emails up to 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't rest because you don't let me rest. You find me on social media, you find me on text messages, you find me on emails, and I try to be as responsive as I possibly can. I've got 3 kids, it's just me. I've got 2 that I'm supporting in college right now, and one who's a senior in high school. We've been to 7 public schools in Palm Beach County. She's over at Forest Hill. It's hard. I had to downsize and move into a smaller place to be able to afford some of the college payments that I have to make for my older 2 kids. There's not a whole lot left over, even at my salary. You got a lot of families in this county that are like mine, and they're in worse conditions. They're struggling. They're struggling to pay for high rising housing costs. And don't blame the messenger. I don't determine your property value. That's George Jack's job. We just budget based on that. But the rising costs of healthcare, of groceries, of gas, of housing expenses, of utility bills, school expenses. You looked at a school supply list lately and seen what you have to have for your kids for day one of school. So there are families that are struggling. And so in order to try to meet the needs that they need to meet for their families, they are working 2 to 3 jobs. Every week when I do a county commission meeting, I have to go downstairs and I have to sign about 2 hours worth of documents as the mayor. And I speak to some of the staff, and there's a young mom there. She's got a little one in elementary school and one in high school, and when she leaves that job at 5, she goes home and she makes sure the 8-year-old is fed. The senior in high school watches the 8-year-old, and she puts on her other uniform, and she goes to work, and she works all night at a Home Depot until they close. And so we've got a lot of parents that are doing their best, but that's a lot of time that children are unsupervised. And, idle time doesn't usually lead to good deeds. And so we work really hard, all of us up here, to find affordable housing opportunities, to find prevention programs. Working my tail off right now to get a new Boys and Girls Club opened up in Belgrade, which would be a teen center and keep those kids off the street and somewhere safe to go after school. We work hard to send kids home with backpacks filled with food on the weekends so that they can eat when they're not in school. That's a struggle for families. And so we need community support, your encouragement to help make it a little bit easier for families that are really trying hard. And then lastly, I just want to address the opioid epidemic. To the speaker who said we're not doing anything on that, as the first elected official in the state of Florida to demand that the governor declare a public health crisis, and it took me 3 months to get that. I have been leading the effort. I have spoken nationally on this issue. The congresswoman can tell you how many times I've knocked on her door in Washington. Representative can tell you how many times I've knocked on his door in Tallahassee, and he's been a tremendous partner in this effort, particularly with his fire rescue background. And I understand. I will say that. I will even say that if you talk to Senator Rubio, he will tell you that the increase in the overdose epidemic that we see is mostly related to fentanyl, and that was backed up in a recent DEA report to law enforcement. Fentanyl is lacing the drugs. Fentanyl comes from China. So Congresswoman Frankel, I want to thank you. You and Senator Rubio worked together to push back on China and ask them to decrease the supply of fentanyl coming in, or actually eliminate, other than what's needed for surgical needs, to eliminate the availability of fentanyl in those situations in the country. Palm Beach County, we have set aside $2 million over the last 2 years. We've added, worked with some nonprofit ventures, we've added additional detox beds, and I'm really excited that I met with JFK Medical Center, both their Lantana campus and their West Palm campus, along with the Palm Beach County Healthcare District. Those are your dollars, so thank you for supporting them. We will be opening up a central receiving facility for folks that are suffering from overdoses. We are going to be working with the EMS Council and fire rescue agencies from across the county and developing new protocols, much like I did with Senator Benaquisto at Wellington Regional for sexual assault victims. Across the county, they go to Wellington Regional to the Butterfly House, and it's been a tremendous success. We're trying to do that for families dealing with addiction. This will be a place where they will go. They will start immediate detox. They will get medication-assisted treatment. There will be outpatient services there for therapy and for continued medication-assisted treatment. We're going to continue doing our partnership with Fire Rescue down at the South Campus in Lantana. It should help put a dent in the crisis that we're seeing and give families a place to go for help. That's what we're doing. It's 3 steps forward and 2 steps back on this crisis, but I'm absolutely committed to it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's comments here and everybody's input, because what you have here is freedom of speech. And that's everyone's opinion. Whether you agree with the other person's opinion, that's your opportunity, your obligation, and your right. So what's discouraging when we talk about what's wrong, why can't we just allow someone to have their opinion and not feel like theirs is wrong and yours is right?
Thank you.
We all have a right in this country to say that we think is right and wrong, to challenge our elected officials to do the right thing. That doesn't mean we have all the answers. It doesn't mean you have the right, you have all the answers either. So we're trying as a society. I'm a parent with 2 young kids trying. I'm working as a firefighter full-time. I try to work as your elected official for the state full-time as well. We all are trying, and we're trying to do better. But again, this is going to take a community and a country. We're already a great group here. I can tell you that Wellington is a great community. The Western community is a great community. You have great representatives here. But it's going to take all of us. But we have to allow other people to have their opinions. There's not one single opinion to fix this. Everyone's standing up here asking us how we're going to fix it. We don't have all the answers, but your answer isn't the only one either. I mean, as someone that has probably seen, and this is no badge of honor, I promise you, and trust me, I take criticism as well as I give it. I've probably seen as many opiate overdoses as most people in this room, as many shootings in this room, as many people having troubles in their homes in this community, struggling to put food on the table, to put medications in their mouth, their food in their refrigerator, when senior citizens are living on fixed accounts and they have to make a decision. Trust me, I shouldn't say that, because that's bad for anyone to say. You decide for yourself. I challenge our elected officials as well. Ms. Andrews will tell you, there is nobody right now as a bigger critic of the Palm Beach County School District than me right now. I am challenging them every single day to do more than they are. But they are also doing it with a fixed income. There's only so much to go around. When you guys look in your checkbook at home every day, there's only so much to go around. And yes, we collect taxes, and those taxes have to go to things that are increasing costs as well as in your house, and as well as any of these government agencies. The cost of government fuel hasn't gone down and yours has gone up. The cost of their vehicles hasn't gone down and yours has gone up. Theirs is going up as well. So things continue to rise for cost for them as well. They are trying to do more. We have teachers that can barely make ends. I can tell you, I've proposed some crazy things in Tallahassee. Year-round education. What does anybody think about year-round education? We keep our kids off the street year-round. We teach them. They have, 50% of the kids in Palm Beach County are free and reduced lunches. The only meal sometimes they get is in school, where they get a hot meal, and you send your kids to the school to have a parent teach them, to educate them. Where does your responsibility start when you drop them off? You have a responsibility to pick them back up to do that. As someone said, if a kid's doing wrong, you tell them wrong. I expect that to the people on my street to tell my kids if they're doing wrong. We as parents have to do more as well. Yeah. We have to not be afraid to tell someone else's child they're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
I work with people right now that say they're afraid to honk their horn or to tell someone they're doing something wrong because they're going to get shot or violence against them. We shouldn't be afraid of that in our society. We should not. And so, I say as you're looking to elected officials for answers, I'm asking you for answers too. I'm asking for your support. I supported the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. $400 million, right? Sounded great. Did I agree with everything in the state of Florida, what that was in the bill? No, I don't agree with arming teachers. I think teachers should teach, not worry about security.
Oh, good Lord.
It doesn't mean that I very much support the Second Amendment. I'm a proud yet responsible gun owner. I teach my children their right and wrong. One of them pointed a gun at the other one wrong. I went over and broke it in front of them. I tried to prove to them they're not a toy. They're real. Video games are not real, but they certainly look at them as real.
Right. Yeah.
We need to stop some of this society and have kids out playing more. I'm always trying to push my kids outside to play, not stay home on the TV or play video games.
Right.
But that's what we as parents need to do.
Yep, exactly.
But if I do that to my kids, is every parent here doing that?
No, not
So, you can't just say it's us to fix some of these problems. We all have to take responsibility for this and try and do better. I'm going to go to the football game on Friday night. I'm going to prove to our school that I think they're trying to do as much as they can if they're safe. I'm not going to sit in my house and hide myself and say that it's someone else's problem, and I'm not going to take responsibility for what's happening. I'm gonna go to the football game Friday night. I ask each and every one of you to join us. If we don't stand up for what we want,
That's right.
we're never gonna get anywhere. But don't blame the elected or someone else for fixing the problem when we all have the obligation and the right to fix it.
That's right.
And you know, and I'll say the last thing, Congressman, I'm sorry. You know, we said we're not gonna get political. Everything seems to get political. But even if it does, that's still your right. It's
Exactly.
still your First Amendment right to do. But please don't put other people down for having their opinion, their thoughts, and their feelings about it. Because I can tell you in Tallahassee, and most people here will tell you, I'm very much down the middle. I'm not on the bride or the groom side, I'm right here in the middle, trust me. And I believe
Don't feel like
that
it.
everybody has a right and opinion to their own thoughts, and we should not take away anyone else's. And I think that's where we start right here in this room, as I already heard. There is a lot of division here. And the minute we question someone in our government that the other person doesn't like, we start booing them, yelling at them, or telling them to be quiet. That's not right. We have obligation to question our electeds. You have the obligation to question us.
Okay. We got
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Sit down.
It's very dangerous to give any politician a microphone.
Yeah.
I want to say this. I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank everybody who's here tonight. Because this is what our democracy should be about. You came out here in the rain and you expressed your opinions, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. And listen, I want to thank, I'm so proud of these colleagues of mine up here. Thank you for being here. And you can see, I hope you may not agree with everything they have to say, but I hope you can see how hardworking and honorable they are. Thank you very much. Give them a hand. I'm going to wrap this up, and listen, I'll tell you what I learned from listening to all of you, so many different comments. Listen, the problem didn't start when the shooter showed up at the gate, at the football game. The problem didn't start there, folks. And so, it's going to take a community to get everything like we want. And I think, Melissa, you talked about mayor stresses, family stresses. When people feel like there's justice, there's a way to settle problems other than taking it out on their own, when we have more resources for mental health and we can deal with this drug issue, when parents can take care of their families, they don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs and they're home supervising, when people have access to health care, and when we invest in our kids. And I will tell you this, I think our state has cheated our kids. I'm going to say that right now. Our state has cheated our kids because instead of putting money into the schools, into pre-K educate, early intervention, get these kids off to a good start, and not having school boards to nickel and dime folks, that's when we're going to make a real difference. So, thank you. I got to give my last comment, but I wanted to say thank you all again. We heard what you said tonight. We thank you for sharing your thoughts.